This is the future.
Let me ask you this first, for what weapon did you spend your Incarnon Genesis adapter this week? For me, I got the Latran and the Bow Genesis Incarnon. We will talk about the Latran later, as I got some farming to do, specifically, some Pathos Clamp which is only available in the Oro Worm boss fight. For now, let me share to you my experience on Incarnon Bo which I have used in my Bo Prime. So first, how to get the Incarnon Genesis for Bo Prime. It's now available for all in the Steel Path version of the circuit. Take note that each week, the weapons selection will reset. From the time I was making this video, you only got 3 days and a couple of hours to get your Incarnon Genesis like the bow, before it resets and get another selection. Also, I would like to add that the first Incarnon Genesis that you select will be awarded at tier 5, and the second one will be awarded at tier 10. So, if you want to try out the Incarnon Bow first, then best select it first before anything else. After getting the Incarnon Genesis adapter for this melee, it's time to unlock each evolution for this weapon. The first one is given, and it's the basic Incarnon form that evolves your melee weapon. The second evolution though would ask you to complete a solo mission using the any bow. Take note that any variant would do, and in fact, you can choose to pick the vanilla bow, the MK1 version, or the Prime version. In my case, I picked the Prime version for my Incarnon Genesis as it got higher stat values, but it would be wise that you evolve all version for the Duviri missions like the circuit. Take note that it's one Incarnon Genesis adapter per version of the weapon, so basically, you will need to farm 3 bow Incarnon and then evolve them, and level them, which is kind of a hassle. It would be a good plan to stick with the Prime version first, then evolve the weaker version later. Now, let's get back to the second evolution. Solo mission can be done easily by running the normal start chart of Hepit capture mission in the void. Just grab your speed frame, capture the target, and don't forget to equip your Incarnon Bow. After finishing the mission, go back to Zaramant to evolve the weapon, which is the most annoying part of this journey. I don't know if there's any option to just select the evolution somewhere wherein you don't need to see the loading screen to travel to the Zaramant ship and evolve it on Cavallero. If there is no option for this, then Digital Extremes should create one, as it's really annoying. For the third evolution, you will need to activate the Incarnon form of this weapon 6 times. My initial plan was to do a normal Sanctuary Onslaught and just reach 6 times combo count and then activate the Incarnon form, and then deactivate it, and just rinse and repeat the process. However, I forgot that the melee Incarnon doesn't work this way. Once you have used the Incarnon form, you will wait for about 3 minutes before the Incarnon form deactivates. So, what I did is to run the Yuka Void capture mission, capture the target, get my bow into 6 times combo and then activate the Incarnon, and go head to the extraction. I did this for about 6 times and it took about 6 minutes. The last evolution requires you to kill 40 enemies with a slide attack. I was dumb enough to even take it to the Sanctuary Onslaught, as I have waited for a couple of minutes. If only I just run a capture mission, or exterminate and kill enemies, then it would only take about a minute to do so. With an Orokin reactor, you can give any version of the bow some decent mods to kill enemies while sliding, and once finish, it's time to brainstorm and come up with the build I'll be using for my Incarnon Bo Prime. So, the initial plan was to go with a heavy attack / a bleed build for this Incarnon melee. I can say that the most interesting part about this Incarnon melee is the flashing bleed evolution that gives a 40% chance on bleed on impact status effect. So how does this work, squad leader? It's quite simple to comprehend, but some mechanics might confuse you, like what mods should you focus, / or impact. Basically, flashing bleed converts your impact damage is treated as / damage when it procs, and it will give you bleed procs. This means that how much impact damage you deal, will impact the result of your bleed procs, and modding for / won't do any good for this weapon. Long story short, impact is the way. I was beginning to think that this would be a slam combo would be cool and insane for this, but I was kind of disappointed because 40% is too low eventually for the combo. However, seeing that the fast attack and heavy attack do procs the flashing bleed evolution gave me hope. So then I decided to give a try a fast and heavy attack combo. For the second evolution, I will let you choose either Stalwart Oak or Swordman's Flourish. This is because it's highly dependent on the Warframe you are using. The best in the slot for this would be Stalwart Oak, but it would require your Warframe to have some decent armor. Normally, you can use this with tank Warframes to take advantage of the insane combo count chance bonus. For the third evolution, I choose to get the overhand perk, which gives heavy attack efficiency. This pairs well with the Incarnon form of the bow, as it also gives 50% heavy attack efficiency. Remember, what I aim here is to use both fast and heavy attacks on the build. And lastly, of course, the flashing bleed for the fourth evolution. Now, let's talk about the build. You got some weird modding the squad leader, I know, but let me explain. First is the condition overload mod. You won't see the normal viral or heat status in my build, which will confuse many new players. Take note that elemental status is not the only status in the game. The bow prime with the Incarnon can proc 3 statuses: impact, puncture, and slash, coming from the flashing bleed evolution. This means that on average, I can get a 240% damage boost from condition overload. This gets even better if I apply prime guns with this, giving more insane damage, and in the Duviri missions, some decrees have guaranteed procs, making condition overload one of the best in slot mod for bow prime Incarnon. To make it proc status more often, I decided to go with Weeping Wounds, and with the help of the Clash in Forest stance, I can get to 12 times combo count fast, or, if I have the 300% combo count from the second evolution Stalwart Oak, then it would be easy to go up to 12 times combo count and get over 100% status chance with Weeping Wounds. Since this is a combination of heavy and fast, I decided to go with Amalgam Organ Shatter to boost the wind-up speed of my heavy attack. The most obvious choices here are Blood Rush for more critical chance, Berserker for attack speed, and Primed Reach for range. There is an evolution that grants more range, but I did not get it since heavy attack efficiency is better for my build. The most eyebrow-raising mods, however, are Shattering Impact and Primed Heavy Trauma. Since the bow is primarily an impact damage weapon, Shattering Impact works every time with this, allowing you to strip armor faster. If you have a defense stripping ability though, then replace this with either Healing Return or Drifting Contact for more combo duration if you don't want to use Naraman Focus more often. And lastly, as I have explained earlier, the bleed procs do benefit from your impact damage, and there's no point in giving this melee some slash to boost the bleed. On the other hand, giving more impact damage to the weapon increases its bleed damage, as I have said, the impact gets treated as slash with the flashing bleed evolution. To further boost the damage of the bow Incarnon, you can use buffs from other sources like a critical chance from Warframes, defense stripping, or even the roar ability, which is good for this as the bleed procs double dips with the roar ability. Now, here's some showcase of how powerful bow gets with the Incarnon evolution.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.
My final verdict would be a 7 out of 10 if I were to rate the effectiveness of the Incarnon Genesis for the bow melee. It's not perfect, it's not meta, but it revives this melee weapon. To be honest, an impact melee sucks and bow prime wasn't even remembered. The Incarnon form makes it better and it's a good melee weapon to use right now. Thank you so much for watching. Squad Leader signing off.